Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Bora. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I've typically done build showcases and guides. If you haven't checked those out, I highly recommend you look at the other content on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. I will be doing more content. I'm trying to do it a little more regularly. I'm at a cadence of about every 5 days now. I'm going to try to do it every 3 days, something like that. Today we're going to be talking about Player 8 Tier 3 mapping. I'll show you a video of some pretty successful runs that I've done with my group. And so we'll just lead in with, first of all, what you need to be successful in a tier 3 if you're really trying to push for 99. And so I'll just speak to my group quickly, group of really dedicated people. And, obviously pub mapping is a bit of a struggle sometimes. And if you're trying to hit 99, it's probably not the way that you want to go. So you do want to find a good group of mappers that are consistent, that are regular. One thing that I absolutely recommend for everyone is using Discord. It just keeps, obviously, it's a team game. You build a bit of relationships, but moreover, just make sure that you don't get super bored while you're doing the runs. Going to level 99 is a grind. I'm using a 9% Annie here. 10% would be obviously ideal for pushing 99, but all told, it's going to take about 200 tier 3 maps, player 8, for me to go from 98 to 99. So obviously kind of a grind. So you do want one, a group of good people, that are going to have fun and that you're going to enjoy the grind with. But two, you're going to want good clearing speed, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the perfect composition for a player 8 tier 3 map. And I think one of the things, I'll go through my rationale. I'll show the key skills that are important for the fast clearing speed. And I think really, it goes without saying, what you need is a lot of DPS. Now, I'll start with DPS, but that's not to say support isn't important. I think support is arguably more important, but we will finish the video with that. So let's start with some DPSers. A couple of really common, really strong builds right now: Javazon, Boson, and Dragon Den. Those are your pretty core DPSers. And I think the way that I look at it, you want at least 5 DPSers. And so I think a Javazon fits in really nicely. You're going to see, I have a bit of survivability gear on. I did switch to Chains of Honor. If you guys haven't seen my gear, I'll quickly just hover over everything. I have some pretty strong gear here. I do a lot of DPS, and I am definitely a party favorite. I really contribute. I do a ton of damage, a ton of, it's not AoE, but multi-target damage. So the Javazon fits in really nicely. Your Mercenary brings the Conviction aura. So that is obviously really helpful as well, especially when you're running with a Dragon Den or a couple of Dragon Dens even. So really with a Amazon, the key skill that you're going to be using is Lightning Strike. I think it goes without saying that, obviously this is the strongest build for Javazon right now. Lightning Fury is taking a bit of a hit. I think I'm not sure exactly what changed. I think that the synergies got nerfed a little bit. So Lightning Strike, you still get the plus 14% per level for each of the synergies. You do a ton of damage, and you just bring a lot to the table. You're a frontliner, a lot of multi-target damage. So I think this is a good place to start. Not to say that a Javazon needs to be in every single party, but I do think that a Javazon fits very nicely in a lot of parties. So I'm just going to type up here what I think the perfect party is going to be. And so let's move on to the next DPSer. This is a bit of a trick. Because you probably want multiple pallies in your party. So here's a couple of things to know. A Dragon Den will typically be running resist fire. If you're not familiar with the Dragon Den, basically all of their gear provides levels to Holy Fire. I think that the gear puts you into level 46 or something like that of Holy Fire. Sorry if I'm wrong about that, but you want to run Resist Fire because it actually increases the fire damage dealt by you. So a Dragon Den, their job, they're a frontliner, they charge in, they're doing a ton of AoE damage around them, and obviously the Resist Fire aura is helpful for the party as well. But it doesn't stop there. So this is actually kind of why I think you want at least 2, if not 3 pallies. The auras are so great, especially for helping out the team. So if you have one Dragon Din that's running Resist Fire, that's great. You can have another Dragon Din that's running Salvation. Now, Salvation gives all res and increases all damage done by the entire party for elemental damage. So again, if you're running with a Javazon, you're running with 2 Dragon Dins, maybe you have a Sorceress in your party, maybe you have a Cold Zon in your party, it's going to increase all of that damage. So Salvation, super nice for your party. And if you have a third, you can actually run Resist Lightning, and that's going to even boost your Javazon damage. If you're with a Tesla Din, it's going to boost their damage. Any of those really popular builds right now, the heavy DPS builds, having those 3 auras is really important. So I think, for me to fill out my party, I'm saying definitely another Dragon Din with Resist Fire, because that's what makes them do damage, and a second Dragon Din with Salvation at the very least. So these are, this is a pretty strong core DPS. Something else you might want to consider is a Bozon. So I'll switch back to my Zon. I think it's pretty clear what the key skills are there. You just want to obviously have a really solid multi-shot Bozon. Again, once they get the levels in it, they're shooting 24 hour arrows. Sorry, they're piercing, they're critting. We'll talk about support later, but they could be enchanted. They could be dishing out a ton of damage. They stand a little bit further back, so you don't always need all of your DPSers to be frontliners. And I think as you continue to do tier 3 maps, what you'll realize sometimes is there's little strays that get left behind. Me as a frontliner, I'm always running straight in, and you don't want to get hung up on individual units too much, because as a Javazon, again, your chain lightning bounces to next target. So whenever you're clicking on a single target unit, you're really wasting your time. So I don't get hung up on strays. This is a good opportunity to have a multi-shot Zon that follows in the back line and really, kind of cleans up some of those strays. So I'm going to add a multi-shot Bozon to the party. I think, again, for, your core DPS, really strong. Now, I think you could round this off with just about anything. Again, I've already talked about a Dragon Din. You could have a Tesla Din. You could... it doesn't really matter. I think, I'll quickly digress and just talk about things that aren't so good for player 8 tier 3 mapping, and that would be a Necro, pretty much, like a damage dealing Necro. Again, we'll talk about support later, but a damage dealing Necro, not very strong. Again, most damage dealing Necros use poison or even summons. The summons aren't going to do anything. Everything's going to die before the summons even get to the target. So with the Necro, with poison damage over time, again, it doesn't really set in. It's probably, the first second goes by, maybe, and so you're probably only doing about a third of the damage that actually shows on your tooltip, because none of it is really setting in. So I think for the 5th DPSer, you could go, anyway. I do think a Dragon Din's probably strong, but again, you can definitely add a bit of variety. But we'll just for the sake of this video, we'll just say a 5th DPSer, because we don't have like a specific need here. Again, we have a very solid core of 4 units. Now, let's talk about the supports. Now, the supports are incredibly important, and I think the number one support for me when I play is a Cold Arrow Bozon. And I don't know if you've done too much mapping. It's not a super popular build. It's a bit popular, but you don't see them as often. But man, they freeze everything. You're never going to be in danger. And some tier 3 maps are obviously extremely juicy. A lot of Fanat packs, a lot of Might packs. The archers can one-shot people in your party. If you have a good Cold Zon, and in the group that I play, there's a fantastic Cold Zon, you're never in any danger whatsoever. The Cold Zon is freezing everything, and you can just go on your merry way, doing your DPS, and running through the map as quickly as possible. And again, you know, when you're pushing for 99, every second matters. Like if you can shave your average map time down from 8 minutes to 7 minutes, that's a huge difference. Our group at the fastest map I think we've ever done, or that I've ever been a part of, was about 5 minutes 40 seconds. And again, these are high density, high experience maps, so we're running through them. And you know, again, if you're doing that 99 push, you just need that, right? Because if you're doing a pub map and it's taking 12 minutes and people are dying all around you, it's not going to be a great experience. You're never going to hit 99 that way, or I shouldn't say never, but it's going to be less enjoyable than if you were to do it with friends. So let's just type that in for support. Again, if you guys haven't seen one of these, I highly recommend trying to befriend one. Cold Boson. They're just simply amazing for tier 3 maps. So let's continue on with support. And the next one that I think is a great one is the Necromancer. Again, not for the purpose of doing DPS, but for using curses. They don't even necessarily need to be a curse necro. However, it's really nice if they do. Low resist is going to be just an awesome curse for everyone in your party. Again, if your DPS is going to be a Javazon, Dragon, you know, the lower resist is going to be amazing. If you do have some physical DPS in there as well, they can also cast amp damage. And if they're ever going to use a third skill, there's a couple of good options. One of them is where are we at here? Dim Vision. So this is a very underrated skill. A lot of people don't use it, but Dim Vision, for those archers, it shrinks how far they can attack from, essentially, because they can't see you. And you're really just protecting your group, but not 100% necessary for the Dim Vision. If they're only going to use one curse, it has to be lower resist. I mean, your party is just going to be doing so much elemental damage, pretty much whatever the situation is. You know, I didn't mention sources because they're not great DPSers, but they do DPS, obviously. So lower resist is going to help sources, Javazons, Dragon Dens, Tesla Dens. The list goes on. You know, those fire druids. I haven't really dabbled in those yet, but anyway, those are you know, viable characters as well. And then amp damage. Again, this is going to help bosons. If you're running with a Mind Blast Assassin, which isn't super popular, it's going to help that. Any barbs, it's going to help. So amplify damage would be your second curse, and Dim Vision, Decrepify. I mean, there's a number of options that you can use, but I think those would be my core 3: lower resist, amp damage, and Dim Vision. So we'll add that to the list of our perfect map group, and we have just one more. So Curse Necro is going to be the 7th in our dream party, and we're going to round it off with, sorry about that, we're going to round it off with a Sorceress. So I think the obvious thing here is Enchant Fire is a good one, and also Enchant Cold. Either one of these is going to be great. I think in my group we personally run we like cold chanters, but fire chanters do great as well. Again, it's going to boost the DPS for everyone in your party. You know, Dragon Dens, as much as they do a lot of elemental damage, they do some physical as well, especially on the bosses. They can use, you know, low level zeal, but for the most part they're charging around, all that kind of stuff. You're going to boost damage for your entire party, and you know, you're really just going to like, if you have this competition, or this composition, I should say, sorry, you are going to absolutely fly through maps. So we'll go with Enchant Source. So if you guys are racing to 99 in the next patch, I think this is kind of the composition that you want to go with the caveat that you can't have a fully geared Dragon Den 2 days into ladder, you know? So some of these builds aren't going to be obviously viable right from the get-go in ladder, but, you know, you call it 2 weeks in, you can start seeing some of this gear come into play. Now, we'll talk about just one other option. Instead of a 5th DPSer, what you can do is get a Barb. in there, and we'll quickly show you why. Go to Bora Barb, who I just made for the purpose of this video. I haven't played any Barb yet this patch, but obviously you have battle orders. They moved it on me. Battle orders, it's been nerfed. It's still good at high levels. And then, of course, find item. Now, this is an interesting one, right? Because in tier 3 maps, there are 2 bosses. You cannot use find item on the first boss, I believe, but you can on the Lister boss, the Lord of Lies, that motherfucker. You can use find item on him. He can actually pop another map. The other day, he can pop a second map. He can pop pure demonic essence. And of course, just items as well. So, one of the things that when you're doing tier 3 maps, it's very hard to sustain. You do have to pay a lot for the materials. You're probably going to have to buy maps. You're going to have to re-roll them, all that kind of stuff. So every tier 3 map you can get your hands on for free is going to help. Find item is a good source of maps. And he can just stand behind, use battle orders for the boys and use find item as he falls behind. He can also, maybe get a couple of points in. He can skill as a whirlwind barb. He can clean up some of those strays that get left behind by some of your frontliners who are focused on, charging into big packs. So this barb is no slouch whatsoever. If you want to replace a 50 DPS with this barb, it's a great option. So let's just talk quickly about mercenaries, because they play a pretty big part in this as well. The more diversity you can get in your mercenaries, the better. What you don't want, and this is a bit of a cherry on top, because sometimes it's pretty hard to get obviously a party to cooperate on all of this. But if you can get a good spread of mercenary auras, that's just fantastic. So if you can get pride on one merc, if you can get conviction on one, if you can get insight on one, really helps out the curse necro in particular. He has mana problems. If he's casting multiple curses, lower resist is very expensive in terms of mana. So any of those are going to be great options. And beyond that, I think this is the absolute most important. This is my secret sauce, and a lot of people don't know this, is if you have a Act 3 mercenary, I believe it's the Fire mercenary. It says they added in recent patch, they just showed what skill the mercenary gives. You want cleansing on a mercenary, and that's I believe it's Act 3 Fire. And what that does is remove curses from you. When you're down in tier 3 maps, you're very commonly going to be hit with Decrepify, and it can absolutely slow your run down a ton. So if you do have a cleansing mercenary, it's huge. It can actually save you 30 seconds to a minute per run. And again, if you're making that grind, that from 97 to 98 takes about 100 maps. From 98 to 99 takes about 200 maps. It's a huge time commitment. But all of these things are going to support your ability to do it, and it's going to cut that timing down. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to show you a couple of videos, or I'll just show you one run that we did in just over 6 minutes. Pretty good composition. I don't think it's this dream composition that I've put on the screen here, but nonetheless, it is still a great composition. Again, we're running maps in about 6 minutes. Doesn't really get much better than that. Of course, if you're really trying your heart out, you'd be able to cut that down to probably just over 5 minutes. But at the same time, we're still trying to have fun, right? We're not trying to set any records or anything like that. It's a group of guys in Discord, everybody talking, joking. It's the only way to get through this grind. So yeah, just ensure that you're having fun, but you can still have fun and do maps very quickly, hit 99 very quickly. So I'm going to go into that video right now. Okay, so I have the video loaded up here. I'm just going to talk over it while we watch. I mean, a lot of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. So again, key thing to call out, you don't always need that dream composition that I had on the screen earlier. You can certainly, I was more trying to communicate what the dream party was, And if you have some of those key components, then you're going to be able to do these maps really fast. So I believe this run takes about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So here, our composition, we actually have 2 cold Zons. Both of them are cold. We have 2 Dragondins. We have 1 Holy Bolt Paladin who is pretty much there just to provide an aura. I mean, he's trying to hit 99, so he's welcome to join. As always, we do have a Barb and we do have a Druid. Now, the Druid is not going to be very useful at all. But again, you know, part of the thing about grinding for 99 is obviously you're going to swap people in and out all the time. We have a core group of probably about 20 people. People filter in and out throughout the day. So we're not always going to have, you know, that perfect composition. We're not always going to have, everyone is going to be useful. We are going to have some of those druids that are also, you know, there for the XP, there for the items. So, you know, of course, those people are welcome as well. Now, one thing you're going to note, everything that I'm running into is already frozen by the time I get there. Now, that's the sign of a really great support cold zone. I'm never in any danger whatsoever. I'm just running into huge packs of frozen stuff and everybody's melting. I did show my tooltip there. As you can see, my lightning strike damage is 49k. Now, on my own tooltip, my damage is 22k. About 12k gets added when somebody turns on salvation. So I set at about 34. And that extra 15 comes from somebody using resist light. So again, that just speaks to, you know, how much, like, it's just basically exponential when you have a party of, you know, really solid elemental damage DPSers. It's not a ton of resist down here, and the things that are resist, some of them get broken and the others get cleaned up by everyone else. So some of those council members sometimes are a little bit sticky with the resist, with the lightning resist. So, you know, not always going to be able to run through those as quickly as I would want to, but certainly the other people are gonna clean that up, no problem. So again, as you see, like, just absolutely no one is in any danger whatsoever. You can see across the top, basically nobody's even losing any life because everything that we're walking into is frozen, and then by the time they're unfrozen, they're dead. So again, let's just take a look at what everybody else is doing. I'm the Javazon. I'm just running forward and I'm just clicking. It's a simple thing, but this game again is about, you know, teams and doing the grind. Just something to do, really. So one other thing to call out when you're doing maps, tier 3 maps, always just follow the right wall. It'll bring you to the first boss, it'll then bring you to the second boss, and then it'll loop back around to the beginning, and you'll clean up the entire map. So just follow the right wall, no matter what you do. It's just the easiest, cleanest way to do. You'll never get lost. That's definitely another problem when you're doing pub maps, is people will start running in every which direction. It really slows down the run when people are splintering off. So you'll see everybody is focused, everybody is going right all the time. And here we go into the boss room. Boss is really no issue at all when you have such a solid party. You'll see that the Holy Bolter, he's spamming Holy Nova every couple seconds in case anyone is losing any life. That's kind of his contribution, but as you see, the boss went down very quickly, and this is just a really solid party. So again, we have 2 Cold Bosons, we have 2 Dragondins. I'm not even sure what spec this Druid was, but you know, he's doing his thing. And then we have the Barb following behind. He's using Whirlwind as his core ability, but he's also following up with Find Item. And as you can see, he just popped a second map from that boss last time. Now, it was just a tier 1 map, but you know, the odd time it is a tier 3 map. So again, some of the interesting things that they can pop when they use Find Item, another pure demonic essence only from the Lister boss. And they can pop second map. I actually just did a run. I wasn't filming, unfortunately, but somebody popped the Lister boss and actually got an Arachnid mesh and a PDE from the same pop. And he's not even like, it's not like he's a magic fine barb, you know, he's just he's spec Whirlwind, he has very high level battle orders, and he's just popping the boss just for that extra loot. So it is a nice thing to add to your party composition, and something that's going to be of pretty significant value towards the beginning of a ladder. So again, if you are starting to plan for what you're going to do next season, make sure that you're friends with somebody that is not a magic find, but just a barb who's going to be there and making sure that he's popping all the bodies. One thing that is kind of anti-synergistic is you'll see that our bosons are actually are kind of shattering all the bodies, so he can't pop everybody. Not that you'd want to anyway. You can still shatter the boss no matter what. Did have somebody drop out, unfortunately, in this video. But all told, great composition. Nobody's in danger ever. Running through it, no problem. Again, this one takes about 6 minutes. So we'll just talk about, key things to look for in a map group. So again, you want to, find good guys good guys, good girls. Basically you want to find, if you're aiming for 99, you want to find a group with a common goal of hitting 99 themselves. Because if they're committed and you're committed, then you're going to make that goal happen. Also, again, I said this before, but make sure you use Discord, or at least have as many people in Discord as possible, just to keep it fun, light, crack jokes, make fun of people, talk about builds, whatever you want to do. Just make sure that you don't introduce any drama. Drama can absolutely kill an entire group of dedicated people. As if they don't remove that person, then it's going to create a hostile atmosphere, which you don't want to be a part of. So make sure that you're playing with no drama, fun people. Again, that run, I think we got down on the map just after the minute 15 mark, so that one was pretty quick. Going to go right into another one, but I'll just kind of keep talking about what you can do to successfully map. And yeah, the next thing is have a solid loot strategy. So this group in particular, our way of looting is if there's something worth gull or down is dropped, it's a free-for-all. If something is worth vex or up, we roll it between, people are actually talking about it in chat right now, we roll it between people that contribute. And what we mean by contributor is somebody who provides materials or maps. So tier 3 maps is one way to contribute. P-gems for re-rolling, the orbs for re-rolling, the low runes for re-rolling, all of that stuff is hugely important. There's a couple of people in this group who are just absolute saints. They spend about 30 minutes to an hour every day making sure that we have enough maps to just go all day. You've noticed probably going from last map to this map, there was no pause in between. Literally, we just cracked the next map and we went. So that's obviously a really great thing to have. If you can be that good Samaritan, I always think, guys, try to help each other out. We're all adults at this point. I think the average age of people playing this game probably skews about 30. Everyone's an adult. Be friendly, be nice, help each other out whenever you can. If you can't commit the time, then make sure you commit the resources. Help everybody out. It'll make everybody have a better experience. And it'll just make the drops, that much sweeter when you get them. Everybody gets a chance to win it. Again, this is later in the ladder, so it is nice. But basically, we just go into Discord. We have Rollbot, and we type out everyone's name. Whoever wins then gets that item, and then they get removed from that loot cycle. And basically, you just have, so if you have 8 people, over the course of the day, everyone is going to get something. It's pretty fair. It's about as fair as it can get. Earlier in the ladder, you might want to do something a little different where you want to give class-specific items to certain people. If you have a Colds on, you want to give them the Venas. If you find T-Strokes or Titans or something, you want to give them to the Javazon. Obviously, that makes sense. But later in the ladder like this, we do it that way where we roll out all of the items that we find. It's super fair. Nobody's ever unhappy about it. And again, it's so important that you just find a group of honest people. We've obviously come across, we invite somebody leaves, we need a filler, we go to a pub game, we get someone, bird drops, they take it, they vanish. Like it, obviously is not so fun. Make sure that everybody understands the rules when they come into the game. Of course, you can report people in PD2, reach out to a mod on Discord if somebody does go against your rules. But yeah, just make sure everybody's having fun, everybody's following the rules, make sure everybody gets loot. That's obviously a big part of why people do this. And yeah, just make sure that the experience is good. So I'll just speak to you quickly, just talk about the maps that we run. Basically, Death's Web just dropped, so that was probably one of the more rare drops that we found in our map running, and we've done hundreds of maps, if not, probably thousands. So we've done a ton of maps, Death's Web, obviously pretty rare. I actually thought it was in my inventory, but it wasn't me. So anyway, yeah, our minimum standards for maps are about 160% density and 30% experience, and basically make sure that when you're going from 98 to 99 that you're getting about 0.5% per level. And that's what you want, right? It's nice knowing, okay, I'm 98, I got to do 200 maps, and I'm going to be 99. Kind of, puts the grind into perspective. The end is pretty clear when you know exactly what's going to happen. And yeah, so this is obviously a really successful map group. If you would like to join, please reach out to me. Again, on Discord, I am Bora, BORA, #7700. You can also put in the YouTube comments if you don't have Discord. We're always looking for new dedicated people, and especially going into the next season. Obviously, a lot of the people from the group are in Europe. I'm from Canada personally. So you can basically have people running maps at all hours of the day. More the merrier. Of course, you can even set up a second group if you do have that overflow. But typically what we do, if we only have one or two people overflow, we put them in a queue, we make it as fair as possible, give them that opportunity to join the map group when somebody drops out. And again, because we play, such like cross-continental, we do have some of the Europeans drop out when it's just, like when some of the Americans are just getting started. So that is a fantastic way to do it. So again, if you're interested, if you're dedicated, if you're ready to commit some materials, get your levels, hit 99, I will say it's a pretty rewarding accomplishment. It's not particularly difficult. Nothing in this game really is. But again, this is a great opportunity for, first of all, find something to do with your time. I'm sure most of us are in lockdown right now. Meet some new people, have some laughs, and at the end of the day, come away with an accomplishment. It's not a worldly accomplishment or anything like that, but it does feel good. That moment that you hit 99, you get to go feed your body and then have your whole party freak out thinking that you just died when you were like 2 maps away from leveling or something like that. Everybody in our group has done that. Please make sure if you hit 99 that you instantly feed and scare the shit out of everyone in your party. That is absolutely one of the funnest things that you can do. And it just feels so good after the grind to just be able to go don't die before the grind is over. I will say that when you're going from 98 to 99, if you do die, you lose about 5 maps worth of experience if you get your body back. Make sure you get your body back. If you die in a solo game, make sure one of your friends comes and gets it, because losing 10% experience is just a nightmare. That's 20 maps. That's hours of your time. So make sure that you're always picking up your body. If you do die, no harm, no foul. Pick it up, laugh it off, and kind of inspire yourself to do the next 5 runs even quicker. Anyways, guys, this is Bora signing off. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to do different style content like this from time to time. Next one I'll do is how to get rich on PD2. So please tune in for that. Like and subscribe. Looking forward to seeing you guys next time. Cheers.